Hi everybody, it's Dystopian Wars week here at OnTableTop, and we have two amazing prizes up for grabs. Our first prize is the Sturginium Skies 2-player starter set. For your chance to win, get your comments in on YouTube. Our second prize is the Hunt for the Prometheus 2-player starter set. The winner for this prize will be chosen from comments on OnTableTop.com.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another faction chat for Dystopian Wars. I'm joined by Chris from Warcradle Studios, and this time round we're going to be taking a look at the Commonwealth faction.
We are indeed. Commonwealth is Russia, Finland, Mongolia. It's a massive area. Poland, Lithuania. It's a huge, as we can see. We have a quick look at the map.
Yep.
The brown area all across the top there, even into Alaska, is all Commonwealth territory. So it's a massive, huge expanse of land, which gives it a huge population. There's just an enormous, it's got a huge amount of manpower, and that's its key strength. It's the number of people it can put onto any task, the number of people it can put into its engineering facilities, its mining facilities. And therefore, it's good at getting vast amounts of resources and putting them to good use.
Okay. So despite being very northern, it does cover a massive geographic area.
Yep.
Does that reflect itself in the sort of the ships and the fleets that they can put out? Do you see distinct sort of pockets within it?
That's something that we'll hopefully explore a bit later. At the moment, the mainstay of the nations that we have represented in the Commonwealth are the Russians, because they really are the big kind of leading nation within the Commonwealth.
What sort of fleet do the Russians sort of favor? Is there a specific style then? You were saying that they have a lot of manpower. Does that translate to a lot of ships in their fleets, or do they sort of run the gamut between them all?
No, they have a large number of fleets. As you can see, they've got a large amount of coastal regions. So they've got a lot of opportunity there to have ports and naval facilities. I mean, they're currently pushing against the Imperium on a number of fronts, and also a lot of sporadic fights with the Sultanate. So those are kind of the two main opponents at the moment for the Commonwealth.
They're butting heads with.
But where we are with the dystopian age at the moment, in the 1870s being the interbellum, it means that there are a lot of these little pockets of fighting, skirmish battles between all of the nations where they're trying to grab little bits of territory. So there's a good reason for the Commonwealth to be fighting anyone. Okay.
So when you're approaching building a fleet then for the Commonwealth, we have here the order of battle for them.
That's right. So on the website, you can find the order of battle under the faction, the Commonwealth. And this is your guide to putting together your fleets, how you put a fleet together. And a force is created by putting a number of different battle fleets together into that force. And each battle fleet is composed of typically, in pretty much all cases, a flagship unit, which tends to be a mass 3 or larger. There are a few that have a smaller ship, but most of them are kind of a battleship or a heavy carrier, or some kind of super dreadnought, depending on what faction you're looking at, or in this case a mobile fortress.
It's not the only mobile fortress they have, but it's an impressive looking piece of kit.
It is, yes. So the great thing about the Commonwealth ships as a whole is their ships are very much tough. They're quite difficult to take out. A lot of them have ablative armor, which means that they're reducing the incoming dice from attacks, as well as having a good basic armor and having having a high amount of hull. So they stick around. So they're your stoic, one of the harder to destroy factions out there.
Because they've got all this extra ablative armor and they're a bit more of a issue for people to remove, shall we say. Does that mean they're slower as a fleet on the whole, or do they give up something else?
A lot of the ships are a little bit slower. Okay. Yes, not significantly so, but they aren't as nippy as some of the other lighter, faster cruisers or battle cruisers. But they do have some very fast units. So the Solotev Kranoplans, for example, are very fast. Yeah, they're really, really nippy.
Well, they're just a couple of wingtips away from being an actual plane. You can,
absolutely, yes. You can see a couple in the background. The Solotovs they have a boost feature. If they go in a straight line, they can add another 5 inches onto their move, so they can really hammer it up the battlefield and get to where you need to be doing some damage. They are fairly fragile, so they're a bit of a glass cannon, but if you use them correctly, they can be worth the payoff.
Yeah. So looking at some of the Orbats we have here, then, are there any sort of that stand out that really define what you think of when you think of the Commonwealth?
Well, a really good jumping in point, if you're thinking of starting with the Commonwealth, is the Murmansk. The Murmansk is a large mobile fortress which has a load of guns on it. It has repair facilities, so again it keeps the rest of your battle fleet on the battlefield for as long as possible. In the box you get a ton of sprues. You get 6 plastic sprues, which means you can have a whole literal force just out of one box. And it gives you some good options as to what you're going to put out there. You get a lot of different variants on all the sprues, of course. Like any of our plastic sprues, you can typically build 3 to 5 different ships out of those. And so when you're starting, that means that you can customize that battle fleet to your own needs. And so, I would recommend that as a really good place to start.
With the amount of customization, then, there's obviously a lot of weaponry in the game. A lot of it is fairly generic across all the factions and nations. Is there anything the Commonwealth sort of have that's a little bit different from what others would see?
Well, there are 2 things that really stand out for me for the Commonwealth, and that is, first of all, the cryo generator. Now, a lot of the Borodino and some of the support cruisers have a cryo generator built in. They are able to make this cryogenic blast attack, which not only is an area of effect attack, but it is hazardous and it's devastating, which means that your exploding hits do 3 hits rather than 2.
That's appalling.
Yeah, and because it's hazardous as well, it causes disorder on the ships that you're attacking. So it's a real disruptive effect on your opponents. But you could also use the cryo generator to create icebergs.
Oh, delightful.
Which can cause some really serious problems for your opponents from a maneuverability perspective, because they've suddenly got these islands in front of them that they need to try and move around.
That they weren't expecting when they were at flank speed the previous time.
Exactly. So that's a really nice tactical option that you have. But also tri-rail guns are a big feature with a lot of the ships in the Commonwealth. They are, instead of most guns having different number of dice across different range bands, the tri-rail guns stay at the same.
Right.
But they're not so great at supporting each other. So you tend to do individual shots. The good thing about them is they're also extreme range, so you can fire up to 40 inches away, which is really good.
Reach out and touch someone.
And they're rail, which means that it reduces the opponent's citadel. So it makes critical hits easier to achieve, and therefore making those individual pot shots to try and get that critical hit is a really good tactic to try and really slow down your opponents.
Yeah, you can stack up a lot of critical damage and a lot of effects and disrupt.
And if you play heavily into that tactic, you can start getting some catastrophic explosions on your opponents by just getting that same critical that they've already got. So just peppering those tri-railgun
it-
shots in can really, add up to some significant
all of a sudden
damage.
the lack of being able to do massive supports with the railgun doesn't really, you're not looking to do full-on damage per se.
That's
you're
right,
looking just to get the criticals, get the effects on, and limit what's going to be coming back at you from your opponent.
Yep, absolutely.
Interesting way of doing this. Do you want to have a look at some of the ships and fleets or ships and cruisers?
Well, I mean, the Borodino is very much the mainstay of most battle fleets.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very dependable battleship. It's very versatile in that it's got cryogenerators. Its cryocapacitors make the cryo blast attack from the generator particularly good, as it has the sustained quality, which gives you some rerolls. And it's just a good all-rounder. It does a lot of different things and can have a lot of different roles on the tabletop. It's got torpedoes, got heavy broadside. It's got 3 different gun batteries, heavy gun batteries, which allow it to pile damage in.
Sure.
But of course, for me, the Murmansk, which is the mobile stronghold, it's just so much fun. It's got unexpected arrivals, so it just pop up in the most unlikely place on the battlefield.
Oh, it's pre-submerged whenever the game starts. Okay.
Well, it's not actually submerged. It teleports in.
Oh.
So it's
a delight.
Well, the fact is, it's a mobile fortress, so it doesn't move very fast. In fact, it has a speed of 2 inches and a drift of 5 inches. So,
I was going to say, it drifts further than it can propel itself.
So actually, it doesn't really go very far once it's on the table, but it has lumbering, so actually it doesn't drift as far, but it just pops up as a result of it being very slow to maneuver. It has this special portal technology which allows it to just beam into a battlefield, and it's there ready for the rest of the Commonwealth ships to be repaired, to dock, to refuel, to resupply.
Which is a handy thing to have, because generally if you have a support base like that in a game, it starts at the deployment zone and all the ships move away from it, and then the rest of the game it's trying to play catch up and can never really get there. So it's this neatly sidesteps the issue of leaving your repair behind.
Absolutely. And it's great to, it does draw fire. It certainly does draw fire from the enemy.
I imagine it would.
It's a bit of a beast, but you've got 2 broadsides on there, so you can fire in all directions with broadsides, which is fantastic once you've teleported into the middle of your opponent's forces and just
give everybody
obliterating frigates left, right, and centre.
Yeah, give them all the good news.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating tactic to use as well. I like that. Well, there you have it. That's the Commonwealth, folks. If you have any questions, pop them below and we'll get Chris to answer them. Till next time, bye-bye.
Hi everybody, it's Dystopian Wars week here at OnTableTop, and we have 2 amazing prizes up for grabs. Our first prize is the Sturginium Skies 2-player starter set. For your chance to win, get your comments in on YouTube. Our second prize is the Hunt for the Prometheus 2-player starter set. The winner for this prize will be chosen from comments on OnTableTop.com.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.